Here's something that most people forget. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're just disconnected from the truth of your power. And right now, what you need isn't more motivation. What you need is a shift in perspective and a decision to act. Most people who feel stuck in life don't realize they're not actually trapped. They're just running on automatic conditioning. It's not that they're lazy or incapable. It's that they've repeated certain thoughts, behaviors, and beliefs so often that those patterns have become subconscious programs. These invisible scripts drive everything. How they see themselves, what they believe is possible, how they respond to challenges, and even how they define success or failure. We're all born as blank slates. Over time, we absorb beliefs from our environment, parents, teachers, media, culture. Many of these beliefs are not empowering. You might have been told to play it safe, or don't aim too high, or that people like us don't succeed. You didn't consciously accept these ideas. They were planted in your mind when you were too young to reject them. But they still run the show. That's why someone can have intelligence, talent, and even opportunity, but still sabotage themselves when it matters most. Not because they're weak, because deep down, they're still programmed to believe they don't deserve more, or they're afraid to leave what's familiar. They equate discomfort with danger instead of seeing it as a path to growth. They confuse survival habits with success strategies. And here's the key. Awareness is the first step to freedom. You can't change what you're unaware of. But the moment you pause and observe your patterns, the way you react, the stories you repeat, the choices you keep making, you create space. That space is the beginning of power. It's where you can say, wait a second, is this belief even mine? Is this really who I am? Or is this just who I've been conditioned to be? Once you start questioning your default settings, you open the door to reprogramming them. Once you start questioning your default settings, you open the door to reprogramming them. And no, this isn't wishful thinking, it's neuroscience. The brain has plasticity. It rewires based on repetition and emotional intensity. That means if you consciously feed your mind new beliefs backed by action and emotion, you can override old conditioning. You can build new habits, new thought patterns, and ultimately a new identity. But don't expect it to happen overnight. This is a process, not a quick fix. You have to interrupt the old patterns daily. You have to condition the new ones like a muscle. And yes, it will feel unfamiliar at first. You might even doubt yourself. That's normal. But discomfort doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing something different. It means you're growing. So no, you're not stuck. You're just conditioned. And the moment you become conscious of that is the moment you can begin to reclaim your freedom. The question is, will you choose to live by default, or will you choose to live by design? One of the most overlooked truths about human performance, mindset, and emotional well-being is this. Your body drives your mind far more than people realize. We tend to think that in order to feel better, we need to think better. And while mindset is crucial, the most immediate and powerful shift often begins not with thought, but with motion. Think about this. When someone is feeling down, depressed, or anxious, what does their body usually look like? Their shoulders are slumped, their breathing is shallow, their eyes are lowered, and there's little movement in their posture. The energy is closed off, the body collapses inward. Now contrast that with how someone looks when they're confident, focused, or excited. They stand taller, speak with strength, breathe deeply, and move with purpose. This is not coincidence. Physiology shapes psychology. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your body for clues about how you should feel. This is why a sudden shift in movement can instantly change your state. When you sit up straight, open your chest, breathe with depth and rhythm, and move like someone who's in charge, your nervous system begins to shift. The chemicals in your brain start to change. You feel more alert, more centered, more in control. That's not a feeling that came from a thought. It came from your body telling your brain how to feel. This principle is not just motivational hype. It's grounded in neuroscience and physiology. Emotions are not just in your head, they are full body experiences. They're deeply connected to your posture, your breath, your facial expression, your tone of voice. And the good news is you can consciously take control of these physical triggers at any time. You don't have to wait for your mind to feel better. You can move better and your mind will catch up. When you learn to manage your physical state, you gain a tool that allows you to shift almost any emotional experience. Feeling fear? Get up and move. Shake your arms out. Take 5 powerful breaths. Walk like someone who owns the room. Speak out loud with strength. Just a few moments of intentional movement can completely redirect your state. This is not denial. It's a strategy. You're not ignoring emotion. You're giving it a new route. This is especially important when it comes to confidence, focus, and momentum. You don't wait until you feel confident to act. You act in a way that triggers confidence. You don't wait for motivation to start. You move, and motivation follows. Your posture becomes a tool. Your breath becomes a weapon. Your movement becomes a message. I am not a victim of how I feel. I choose how I show up. So the next time you're stuck in overthinking, low energy, or self-doubt, remember, the fastest way to change how you feel is to change how you move. Because emotion follows motion. And motion is something you control. Most people are not lacking in potential. They're lacking in clarity. They wake up every day with vague ideas about what they want. I just want to be happy. I want to be successful. I want more out of life. But here's the truth. The brain cannot hit a blurry target. If you can't define it, you can't design it. Without clarity, your actions become scattered, your energy becomes diluted, and your results stay inconsistent. Clarity is power. It's not just a feel-good phrase. It's a foundational principle in performance psychology and goal achievement. When you are crystal clear about what you want, exactly what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, your brain begins to filter the world differently. Your reticular activating system, RAS, a part of your brain that acts like a radar, starts picking up signals that match your intention. Suddenly, you notice opportunities, people, and insights you used to overlook. Why? Because your mind is now focused like a laser instead of diffused like a flashlight. Let's put it this way. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. You show up with wood, nails, and tools, but you have no clear picture of what you're building. You just start hammering boards together and hope something useful emerges. That's how most people are living. Working hard, staying busy, but never building anything real because they haven't decided exactly what they're building. The mistake many people make is setting negative or reactive goals. Goals based on what they want to avoid, not what they want to create. They say, I don't want to be broke, or I don't want to feel stuck. But the mind doesn't process don't in a helpful way. It simply focuses on the object of attention, being broke, being stuck, being afraid. You must flip it. Instead of saying what you don't want, get bold and clear about what you do want. Clarity is not just knowing what you want. It's also knowing why you want it and what it will cost you if you don't get it. When your goals are emotionally compelling and visually specific, they gain gravity. They pull you forward even when motivation fades. They give your actions context. You stop drifting and start directing. And yes, gaining clarity takes work. It requires reflection, honesty, and the courage to confront what you've been avoiding. But the reward is priceless. When you are clear on your mission, decisions become easier. Distractions lose their power. Doubt has less grip. Because when you know what you're after, you stop wasting energy on everything that doesn't serve that aim. So if you feel lost, start by asking yourself the hard question. What exactly do I want to create? And what am I willing to do to bring it to life? Without clarity, effort is random. But with clarity, even small steps become strategic, and progress becomes inevitable. One of the most misunderstood ideas in life is the pursuit of happiness. People spend years chasing some end goal, a promotion, a perfect relationship, a dream body, a bigger house. believing that once they get there, then they'll feel happy, fulfilled, and complete. But here's the truth most never realize until it's too late. Happiness doesn't come from achieving. It comes from progressing. There's a deep psychological principle at work here. Human beings are wired for growth. We are designed to stretch, to evolve, to improve. When you're growing, you feel alive. It doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of your journey or already successful. If you're moving forward, even just by a small margin, you'll feel momentum. And that momentum creates emotional energy. You'll feel fulfilled not because you've arrived, but because you're advancing. That's what lights the fire inside. In contrast, when you stop growing, even if you're successful by external standards, you begin to feel stagnant, uncertain, or even empty. Why? Because deep down, your soul knows you're not expanding. You're repeating. You're surviving instead of evolving. And stagnation breeds frustration. Not because life is hard, but because we're going against our nature when we stop becoming more. This is why people often achieve a goal they've worked hard for and then feel a sudden drop in motivation or even depression. They thought the achievement was the end game, but it was never about the thing. It was about the person they became while pursuing it. That's why fulfillment can't come from outcome alone. It comes from who you're becoming in the process. Progress doesn't always have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as learning something new today, handling a challenge better than yesterday, or taking one more step toward a meaningful vision. It's about knowing that even if things aren't perfect, you're evolving. And that's what creates a lasting sense of purpose. And this is also why daily rituals and routines matter. When you build habits of growth, reading, reflecting, training, creating, you condition your nervous system to thrive. You train yourself to become addicted, not to results, but to improvement. That's sustainable. That's empowering. Because no matter what's happening in your external world, you can still grow internally. Ask yourself each day, how did I grow today? What did I overcome? What did I learn? Don't just chase goals. Track progress. Don't just seek peaks. Fall in love with the climb. Because if you do that, you'll unlock a deeper, more lasting happiness. One that isn't dependent on outcomes, but rooted in who you're becoming. So understand this clearly. Progress is not a luxury. It's a need. When you grow, you feel powerful. When you evolve, you feel purposeful. And when you feel purposeful, you no longer chase happiness, you create it. One step at a time. Nothing in life has inherent meaning. Events happen, people say things, circumstances unfold, but it's not the event itself that shapes your life. It's the meaning you assign to it. And the truth is, most people don't even realize they're doing this. They go through life reacting to things as if the meaning is absolute, never realizing they are the ones creating the emotional and psychological impact through interpretation. This is a game changer once you understand it. Because if you can choose the meaning, then you can change the impact. You can take the very event that once broke you and turn it into the story that built you. You can take a rejection and turn it into redirection. You can take a loss and reframe it as a lesson. That's not pretending things are perfect. It's reclaiming your personal power by becoming the author of your own experience instead of just the reader. You all know people who have been through incredible hardships and yet come out stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. And we also know others who go through far less but remain bitter, resentful, or stuck for years. The difference isn't in what happened. It's in how they interpreted what happened. It's in the story they chose to tell themselves afterward. Most of us create stories by default. We inherit patterns of thinking from childhood or past experiences. If something painful happened, we might unconsciously decide, I'm not good enough. People can't be trusted, or life is always against me. And without realizing it, we start filtering all of our future experiences through that lens. That story becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the truth. You are not the story. You are the storyteller. And the moment you recognize that, you can start to choose a more empowering narrative. That doesn't mean you deny pain or avoid reality. In fact, it means you face it more honestly. You don't gloss over it. You extract meaning from it. You ask, what is this here to teach me? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to serve others? Because when you shift the meaning, you change your relationship with the experience. And when that changes, everything changes. Your beliefs, your behaviors, your energy, your outcomes. This is the essence of transformation. It doesn't start with changing the world. It starts with changing what the world means to you. The same event can break one person and build another. The same challenge can become a dead end or a doorway. And it's not up to chance, it's up to choice. So if you're carrying a story that limits you, revisit it, rewrite it, reinvent the meaning, because no one can take away your ability to choose how you see your life. And when you own that power, you don't just survive your past, you elevate from it. At some point, you have to confront a hard truth. Your life changes the moment you decide it will, not when your circumstances improve. Most people wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, or for something external to shift before they take action. But the truth is, external conditions are always unstable. If your progress depends on things outside of you, you will always live at the mercy of life. Think about how often people say, I'll start when I have more time, or I'll commit when things settle down, or I'll go for it once I feel ready. These are lies we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort. The problem isn't that conditions aren't perfect. It's that we haven't decided with full commitment. And until we do, we stay stuck in limbo. Not fully in, not fully out, just waiting and hoping something will magically change. But what separates people who create extraordinary lives from those who repeat the same year over and over is one word: decision. Not a wish, not a preference, a real decision. The kind that's followed by action, backed by resolve, and reinforced by discipline. It's the moment you say, this ends now, or this starts today, and you burn the bridges to anything less. Decisions are powerful because they reshape identity. The moment you truly decide, you start behaving like a different person, not based on the past, but based on the future you're committed to. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop waiting for approval. You stop tolerating what no longer aligns. Because now your actions are being guided by vision, not by circumstances. And no, you won't always feel confident when you decide. That's normal. You might feel fear, resistance, or self-doubt. But confidence doesn't come before decisions, it comes after. It's earned through repetition, through keeping promises to yourself, through taking action in spite of fear. Waiting to feel ready is a trap. Growth doesn't happen when you feel safe. Growth happens when you act with courage in the face of uncertainty. Some people spend their entire lives adjusting to their environment, reacting to other people's choices, and letting the world shape their destiny. But at any moment, you can step into the role of the creator. You can decide to live intentionally. You can decide to break patterns. You can decide to build the life you were meant for, not the one you've been settling for. So understand this clearly. Your conditions do not define your future. Your decisions do. A single committed decision followed by relentless follow-through can create a chain reaction that transforms your career, your health, your relationships, your confidence, your entire life. And you don't need permission. You just need to decide.